Sakamoto walked into an abandoned building, armed with a sword and a gun. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the place, and a group of assassins appeared, their weapons aimed straight at him. Without hesitation, they opened fire, but Sakamoto deflected the bullets with his sword like it was nothing. Moving like lightning, he slashed the first attacker, causing chaos among the group. Before they could react, he shot another from behind. 2 more charged at him, but Sakamoto easily strangled one and shot the other. The rest of the assassins fired at him with machine guns, but Sakamoto dodged every bullet effortlessly. He returned fire with perfect aim, taking them all down except one. The last man panicked, desperately searching for him. Sakamoto appeared out of nowhere and ended it all with a single, calculated shot. Afterward, Sakamoto left his criminal past behind. While shopping one day, he met a beautiful woman who captured his heart. He fell in love, married her, and together they had a child. Sakamoto opened a shop and settled into a peaceful life as a devoted husband and father. One day, Shin, a former gang associate, visited Sakamoto's shop. Sakamoto was playing with a young boy who often stopped by to practice shooting a toy arrow at a target. The boy accidentally spilled ink on a customer's clothes, and the man grabbed him angrily. Sakamoto watched calmly, but when the man raised his hand to hit the boy, Sakamoto stepped in. Though he imagined taking the man down, he simply stopped him with a stern look. The man stormed out, and the boy tearfully thanked Sakamoto. Shin complimented Sakamoto on his restraint and revealed his secret ability to read minds. He mentioned Sakamoto's legendary reputation and asked if he'd truly left his old life behind. Shin noted Sakamoto's weight gain and urged him to return to his former glory. But Sakamoto, now a family man, brushed it off, saying he wasn't that person anymore. Later, Shin returned to his gang, where his boss ordered him to kill Sakamoto. Refusing, Shin tried to plead for Sakamoto's life, but the boss declared that if Shin didn't do it, someone else would, and Shin would be killed too. The next day, Shin returned to the shop, pretending to say goodbye before leaving the country. Suddenly, he pulled out a gun and fired at Sakamoto, but Sakamoto, unfazed, deflected the bullet with a piece of candy. Then, using candies and other items as improvised weapons, Sakamoto outmaneuvered Shin, eventually knocking him out. When Shin woke up, he found himself in Sakamoto's home, being served a meal by Sakamoto's wife. Suspicious at first, Shin eats cautiously but is blown away by how good the food is. For the first time, he understands why Sakamoto chose this peaceful life over his old one. Sakamoto even offers Shin a job at his shop, but Shin declines and leaves. Back at his boss's headquarters, Shin tries to convince the organization to leave Sakamoto alone, saying he's changed and poses no threat. But the boss refuses and orders Shin to kill him. When Shin refuses, the boss tries to manipulate him, but Shin reads his mind and realizes they'll kill Sakamoto regardless. This angers Shin, and he fights back against the organization. Meanwhile, Sakamoto, listening in on their conversation through a bug, gears up for action. He presses a button in his shop, revealing hidden weapons, and heads out to help Shin. Shin fights bravely, but is overwhelmed as his ammo runs out. Just as things look grim, Sakamoto arrives, taking down the enemies in seconds with his incredible skills. The fight showcases Sakamoto's unmatched combat abilities, and he defeats the boss in a spectacular showdown. Afterward, Sakamoto reveals he tracks Shin by planting a tracker on his gun. He offers Shin another job at his shop, this time with a generous salary. Shin reluctantly accepts, realizing that working in the shop might not be so bad after all. The next day, Shin is seen working hard in the store. A kid asks him to come play, but Shin declines, saying he has a lot of work to do. The kid asks if he likes his new job, and Shin admits it's much better than his old one. When the kid asks what his old job was, Sakamoto jokingly threatens him, and Shin lies, saying he used to work as a cleaner. As Shin adjusted to his new role, he watched Sakamoto balance work, family, and his unusual strength. Though tempted by their past, Sakamoto stayed true to his peaceful life. But when trouble came knocking, like a group of men chasing a fearless girl named Lu Xiaotang, Sakamoto stepped in. Despite ruining his grocery bag during the scuffle, he couldn't let injustice slide. Together with Shin, he helped Lu Xiaotang defeat her pursuers with swift and precise moves. The remaining gang members were determined to capture Lu Xiaotang. Sakamoto quickly grabbed Lu Xiaotang and sprinted away, dodging bullets. The gang chased them but eventually gave up, too tired to continue. Back at the gang's hideout, one of the men who had failed to catch Lu Xiaotang nervously explained to their leader Dan that 2 men had helped her escape. Furious, Dan scolded him and hit him with a staff, reminding him that he'd wiped out an entire clan just to capture her. Disgusted, Dan dismissed him, but before the man could leave, Beato, the gang's swordsman, stepped forward and decapitated him in cold blood. The room froze in terror as Beato joked about the severed head. Dan reminded Beato that capturing Lu Xiaotang was critical because the key she carried controlled the black market. Beato promised to kill anyone who got in their way, and Dan approved. Meanwhile, Sakamoto, Shin, and Lu Xiaotang kept running. Shin asked Lu Xiaotang what was going on. She admitted she was the daughter of a powerful mafia boss, and the key she carried was what the gang wanted. Jumping between rooftops, Lu Xiaotang showed them the key and explained it unlocked a vault holding her family's treasures. Her father had entrusted her with it during a violent attack. She refused to hand it over, saying it was her responsibility to protect it, no matter the cost. She leapt away to keep them safe, but Shin tried to follow. Sakamoto stopped him, asking Lu Xiaotang if she could cook pork. Surprised, Lu Xiaotang said her dad taught her how to cook it. Sakamoto smiled and made her a deal. They'd protect her and stop the gang if she cooked pork for them afterward. Before they could plan further, Beato showed up, landing a powerful kick that sent Sakamoto flying. Shin sensed danger and tried to warn him, but the gang had surrounded them. Inside a nearby building, Beato and his brother, Sun, revealed their twisted nature. They were assassins who loved killing for fun. They even made portraits of their victims as trophies. Shin was disgusted and tried to fight, but Sun mocked him, saying Sakamoto would never survive. Sakamoto proved them wrong, delivering a devastating punch that sent Beato crashing through the floor. Frustrated, Sun tried to grab Lu Xiaotang and escape, but Shin used his powers to stop him, pulling him to the ground with a rope. Sakamoto ended the fight by dropping a refrigerator on Sun, knocking him out cold. When Lu asked who they really were, Sakamoto casually replied, "Just shop workers," while eating crab. The scene shifted to Dan, who was furious about failing to open the vault. Suddenly, Lu appeared behind him, holding a knife to his throat. Dan panicked and begged for mercy, but Lu coldly reminded him that nothing he said could bring her father back. She knocked him out with one strike. Later, Lu opened the vault, revealing her family's treasures. While Sakamoto and Shin admired the riches, Lu found a letter from her father. It wasn't about wealth, but about appreciating life's simple joys, like sharing a drink with loved ones. As the group sat down to eat pork together, they reflected on everything that had happened. Despite the chaos, the meal brought them peace. Sakamoto took a bite and declared the pork delicious, making everyone laugh as they enjoyed the moment. Xiao enters the store and notices Shin is irritated. "You're 2 hours late," he grumbles. He then spots detergent in the fridge and shakes his head. Xiao shrugs. "Who cares? Customers will find what they need." Shin frowns. "Have you ever had another job before?" Xiao casually replies, "Once. I dug a hole for my family to bury stuff." Shin storms off to Sakamoto, complaining, "We need to fire her. She's ruining the peaceful vibe here." Sakamoto interrupts, "Enough arguing. Apologize, Xiao, for being late. And Shin, talk to her politely." Both stare at Sakamoto in shock. Shin mutters, "He never talks this much." Sakamoto quips, "Hey, I have feelings too." Just then, another Sakamoto walks in, sits down, and starts reading a newspaper. Shin watches in confusion as the two Sakamotos confront each other. The real Sakamoto attacks the imposter, whose face changes into someone else entirely. The imposter grins. "It's been a while, Sakamoto. Don't you recognize me?" Shin is stunned, thinking, "How did I miss reading this guy's mind?" The man introduces himself as Ayumu, an 18-year-old who used to work with Sakamoto. But Sakamoto interrupts, "Stop lying, you're 27. Shin and Xiao beat Ayumu for his lies. Ayumu eventually reveals that there's now a 1 billion yen bounty on Sakamoto's head. Just then, the pizza delivery guy steps in. Shin picks up a strange thought from him. I'll kill them all easily. The delivery man reveals his identity, and I'm here for Sakamoto. As he threatens Ayumu, Sakamoto calmly eats pizza, ignoring him. Furious, Nakajima lunges, but Ayumu knocks him out. Sakamoto advises, "Let him go. We don't kill needlessly." Ayumu warns, "You won't survive with that attitude. More dangerous assassins will come." Later, Shin, Shao, Sakamoto visit an amusement park with Hana. Despite the fun, Shin remains alert, reading minds within 30 meters to spot any threats. A disguised hitman approaches, but is quickly taken down by Sakamoto and Shin. Elsewhere, a silver-haired man monitors them, mocking Sakamoto as an old janitor. On a roller coaster, the silver-haired man finally makes his move, pulling a gun on Sakamoto. The bullet bounces off Sakamoto's bulletproof glasses. Shin retaliates, breaking his safety lock and leaping at the attacker. The roller coaster loops as Shin and the silver-haired man fight mid-air. If you enjoyed this recap, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Have a great day.